Hey metalheads, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to check out a video by Dragonforce called Burning Heart, and it features Alissa White-Gluz from Arch Enemy, who I have done reaction videos before, and I have mentioned that Arch Enemy is one of my all-time favorite bands in heavy metal and just all around favorite. I love Alissa's vocals. They are amazing. She is an amazing vocalist and an amazing front woman. And so I'm curious to see like what she does here on Dragonforce. So Dragonforce is more of what's called kind of like power metal. It has a lot of the influences from like thrash metal and stuff, but the thing that separates them the most is they tend to have very fantasy lyrics. They talk about like fantasy type things like dragons and heroicism. It kind of was a bit of a foundation for even symphonic metal a little bit with the way they write and some of the elements they use like keyboards and pianos and those kinds of things in power metal. So Dragonforce is kind of one of the more recent kind of known bands. They've had some of their own little controversies that I don't really want to talk about or get into here right now. I'm more interested in just seeing what this video is and seeing what Alissa does. I don't know if she's going to growl or if she's going to do clean vocals. I would imagine she's going to do clean vocals on it, but only one way to find out. So hey, let's check out Burning Heart by Dragonforce featuring Alissa White-Gluz. Okay. Yeah, right off that scream. Oh, yes, that's what I'm talking about. That scream is what is just like, wow. Definitely already like the visuals of this. Has kind of that already fantasy look and feel. And even the intro, the few little bit of Dragonforce I've heard, they all kind of have a similar little bit of intro, the guitar melodies, guitar harmonies. So this even kind of started like that. To me, if I would not have known who this was, if someone just like pressed play and let me hear like the first 10 seconds of it or whatever, I probably would have guessed, hey, that sounds like a Dragonforce song, just from the little bit I know about them and what I've listened to them. So yeah, already heard some screaming from Alissa, which, yeah, love it. There's that speed that they do. So I see her in the video singing along there. Sounds like she's doing some harmonies on some parts there. Not entirely sure, but of course you see the drummer going like 100,000 miles an hour. That's just the way he does. But yeah, still trying to see what else Alissa's gonna do in this video, because it looks like she's doing some harmonies going on with it, and like when she was singing, I couldn't really hear where she was at in that range. I couldn't tell where she was in there.
With a burning
Okay, so I did hear her harmony is actually her growl. I was able to decipher it in that range there, and it was really nice. And she's beautiful. She's an absolutely beautiful woman. So yeah, call me whatever, infatuated with her or whatever, but she's amazing vocalist and just an all-around beautiful person there. So hearing that growl, and then she did clean vocals there as well, which she has been known to do on Arch Enemy. There are a few Arch Enemy songs that she does clean vocals on, and it sounds really good, but she is really known for her roar and her growl that she can do. And a lot of times when people hear Arch Enemy for the very first time and they don't know anything about it, they're just like, man, that person can growl. They don't realize that it's her. It's a girl that's growling. It's doing those deep, guttural growls that you don't really see very often. Oh! Yes! Yes! Oh! There it is. She gets a whole verse to herself. That is, she is just growling on. My gosh, that. Yeah, love it. I'm gonna go back a little bit because I gotta hear that a little bit more. That, that's the shit I love. Like this little breakdown. A little breakdown here. Nice. Like that drum snare. Really good. Okay. So, breakdown was really cool. You could hear the keyboards, the synthesizer, and that little snare drum that was coming in. And then I think what I was expecting a guitar solo, but no, we're getting a bass solo here, which you don't really see too often in a lot of music. You don't really see a lot of bass solos, like true bass solos, going on here. So this is really neat. This is interesting. This is cool. I like it. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. There we go. Yep. Now, the classic Dragonforce guitar dueling guitar solos. yeah, those guitar solos, Dragonforce, that is kind of a signature part of their songs and their act. The two guitarists do just these crazy lead solos, um, and it's almost in all their songs as well. They write a part or a section for them to do their two guitar solos, whether they switch off and on or they do it together, like they were kind of doing them at the same time here, but it sounded like in sync and harmonious. It didn't sound like they were clashing with each other. A lot of times when you have kind of two guitarists and they both kind of take that lead role, they kind of go off from each other. Slayer did that a lot. Kerry King and Jeff Hanneman, they would trade their solos off between each other. Good example of that. Dragonforce, kind of similar thing. Herman Lee and I forget the other person, the other guitarist's name. I know it'll come to me in a moment. But they go, together a lot. And doing that, you'll see kind of like their songs are kind of long because they gotta have their solo. They gotta have their time to shine, so to speak. Love it. Oh. Oh, yeah. All right, metalheads. So that was Burning Heart by Dragonforce featuring Alissa White-Gluz from Arch Enemy. That was pretty cool. Now, I mentioned earlier that I'm a little familiar with Dragonforce's songs, and I'll be full transparent, it has been years since I've really listened to anything Dragonforce has put out, and I know they've gone through a few lineup changes and things. Inhuman Rampage was kind of the first album I got from Dragonforce, and it's because I saw the video Operation Ground and Pound. I saw that video and I was like, whoa, this is crazy video. It's wild. It had it totally was CG'd, they were on a green screen and everything, but it was just like, to me, it felt like a traditional music video. And I was like, wow, what is this? And who is this band? And the guitarists were just playing like 1,000 miles an hour. And I was just like, what the heck is this? What am I listening to? So I went out and bought the album Inhuman Rampage. And then, of course, probably the most well-known song, not only by off that album, but by Dragonforce in general, Through the Fire and Flames. I think that's the opening track on that album. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've listened to that album, honestly. But I think that was the opening track. And of course, well famously known to be on the Guitar Hero video games. It was on there as kind of like the final song, like the final challenge. Try to beat that on like very hard or expert level. Good luck. I never could. I barely could get anywhere past like the first few seconds on hard on that song. But yeah, anyways, that was kind of my first exposure to Dragonforce. And like I said, I know they've gone through some lineup changes. Back then, CP Thart was the vocalist, and I liked his vocals. I thought they were really good, very reminiscent of some of that classic 80s singing that I really liked, especially in the hair metal genre. The lead singers kind of really had a vocal range in that subgenre there. So that's kind of what I liked about Dragonforce, and it was different at the time for me. I wasn't really listening to a whole lot of power metal. Never really listened to a lot of power metal, not anything against it. I just haven't listened to a whole lot in that subgenre, but I know it is a big subgenre with lots of great bands in there. Coming to this, like almost, I'll be honest, like almost 20 years, almost 20 years later, 18 years later. And I'm just like, okay, they still sound like Dragonforce. Like I said, Herman Lee, and I think the other guitarist's name is Sam? Let me know in the comments below. I'm sure Dragonforce fans will let me know for sure. But they're kind of like the two staple members in there. The two guitarists, like I was saying, dueling lead guitars that they do. That's part of their signature. Their new lead vocalist, Mark Hudson. So, I like it. Good vocals. First time I've heard him singing. Like I said, really didn't listen to anything after Inhuman Rampage. I mean, really, that was the only album I heard from Dragonforce. Maybe I should have listened to more stuff. Maybe I should check out some of their other things. Let me know in the comments below what I should check out by Dragonforce that I may have missed over the years in their catalog. The song, Burning Heart, it was great. Like I said, the first 10 seconds, I could tell it was Dragonforce. I'm like, that sounds like a Dragonforce intro melody and riff. Even though I've only heard that one album, all those songs kind of had a very similar structure, and you just realize like that's the way they like to write. That's how they write their songs. You learn. Bands always have some kind of signature way of writing their music, and you can just kind of tell like, oh, that's a Slayer riff, that's an Anthrax riff, that's an Arch Enemy riff. You know, you just kind of pick it up as you listen to them more, and you just learn. You see what their style is, what their method is, what their way of writing is. And so hearing that at the beginning, the song just like I said, totally sounded like Dragonforce. Now the first time where Mark and Alissa are on screen and they're singing, I could tell she was singing. I was trying to figure out, well, where was her range, and I mentioned that in the reaction part, and then I finally figured out she is doing a growl harmony in there, and that's why it was a little hard to find in there, because it matched really well with the melody that Mark was doing. And at first it was like, okay, I can't hear it, but then I was able to find it in the range, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's growling in there. And then as you saw, when that second verse came in, and she growled, she grunted. Oh, yeah, that was my favorite part of the song. I'm not gonna lie, that was my favorite part of the song. And to be honest, the reason why I chose this video is because I saw it pop up, and I saw that Alissa was featured on it. I'm like, okay, I gotta check this out. I gotta see what Dragonforce and Alissa are doing and see how this works. I like I said, mentioned, I thought she was gonna do more of the clean, just because Dragonforce is kind of a power metal. A lot of the vocalists in power metal do a lot of clean singing vocals. You rarely ever get any grunting or screaming in power metal. Very rare, if any, honestly. So I was curious to see, how are they going to get a melodic death metal vocalist working with a power metal vocalist other than some kind of singing and harmonies. But man, that second verse was so awesome. Yeah, it was beautiful. And like I said, I think Alissa is a very beautiful woman. She's amazing, amazing front woman, pioneering so much stuff in heavy metal as a female. Is just amazing. The walls and barriers she is breaking with it, along with so many other female vocalists out there. Not just her, but so many female vocalists are just shattering some of those walls in the heavy metal community. It's great. So goes to a little breakdown, and then I thought it was going to be a guitar solo, and no, there was a bass solo. Alissa, the bassist, I don't know how long she's been the bassist for Dragonforce, but to me, she's the newer bassist. Does a little bass solo there, and it sounded great. It sounded amazing. A lot of skill, a lot of talent she has with that. And then, of course, we get into the dueling guitar solos. One thing I didn't notice, which I knew that they kind of always sometimes would do in their videos, is pay homage to video games, and they would sometimes have themselves playing a controller, like controlling themselves playing the guitar or something like that, and some of their videos. So I was kind of looking forward to seeing that, but I guess maybe they gave up on that gimmick, or gave up on that trend that they were doing. I don't know, let me know, did they do that in other videos? Dueling guitars, Sam and Herman just wailing at it, going at it, tapping. Oh, yeah, just, again, totally Dragonforce style there. I'm gonna be honest, this song kind of makes me want to go and listen to more Dragonforce. Yeah, I'm probably gonna hear a lot of the same sounds, the same types of riffs and things, but that's what happened when I first heard Operation Pound Ground. I heard it, I was like, this is different than what I'm usually listening to. I'm gonna check out more. And then I kind of just put them aside as I listened to kind of my regular bands and their new stuff they were putting out over the years. But hearing this song, even though I know Alissa won't be on every one of their songs, it does kind of spark a little bit of interest in them again. So let me know in the comments, what song do you think I should check out by Dragonforce that's been released maybe in the last, let's go the last 15 years. It's probably been a little longer than that since I've really checked out anything by Dragonforce, but we'll just do 15 as a nice round number. What should I check out? Let me know in those comments below. Thank you so much for coming to the channel. If you're a first-time headbanger, please hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit that cowbell to be notified when new videos drop. And as always, keep it loud and keep it metal. Be blessed, everyone.